Well, I immediately made 3 lists, love, tolerate, hate. Anything I hate doing, I just immediately hired someone.
Those late nights, that's not for me. 6 p.m. comes, 7 p.m. comes, and my phone rings. It's like, what's happening? Why is this happening?
There's a type of person that I want on my team. I think I can teach anyone to sell. You can't hurt my feelings. Go ahead.
So then maybe you and I are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Deal that died. I never see a bad market. I never see a good market. I see an opportunity.
Much worse would I feel if I was like, wow.
What? Yeah. From wine country to cottage country, real estate is all about lifestyle. I'm Andrew Perry, and welcome to That Fine Life. Welcome back, everybody, to That Fine Life podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Perry. This is the show where we interview entrepreneurs, salespeople, influencers. We've had a couple of influencers on as well. And, we ask the hard-hitting questions. We try to find out what it takes to live that fine life. So, Chris, I hope you're ready. Chris from Keleher Co. in Collingwood has driven down here today to sit in the hot seat.
Yep.
And just, talk shop, man.
Talk shop. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for the basket, by the way.
Yes.
I love Caesars. A lot of people don't know that about me.
Okay.
But I love Caesars. So if anybody else is listening, try to beat Chris's basket.
Yeah, I brought him a nice little package from Collingwood, 1858 Caesar bar. Yeah, interesting little sidebar on that is I never knew I was called 1858. Then I realized it's on all our street signs. That was when Collingwood was created, 1858, when it became Collingwood.
1858.
So that's why he called it that. But I brought you some Blue Mountain tea, Collingwood Brewery stuff.
Yep.
I tried to bring you a little taste of Collingwood.
So I appreciate that. And, beer runs deep in my family. My dad is known as the pub guy. Oh. He's written 8 books on pubs and Ontario hidden gems, Canada hidden gems. There was an article that I shared as well that I found from my Facebook memories. He was actually, I don't know if he ever got the designation or not, but he was in the Guinness World Book of Records for the longest pub crawl.
Oh.
Went from Nova Scotia all the way to BC. He's Scottish, need I say more. So anyways, where I'm going with this is that he transitioned from beer to wine. And he wrote a wine guide to Niagara. And so I got you a copy. So you don't have to leave empty-handed with our Niagara wine guide.
This is great. There's a lot to put together here.
75 wineries in this guide. So next time, bring the wife.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, my friends own a wine tour company down here, Crush Tours. Crush on Niagara, I think is the full name.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice little guide for them to have in their vans as they're going, place to place.
This is totally unprepared, but look, see, we're networking.
Yeah.
We're getting our book and stuff.
I think it's good. Yeah, put a soft cover in those vans when people are going from winery to winery. They can flip through.
Yeah, you know what? I realized these soft covers are very flimsy. So I did buy a hardcover, but it's they're kind of like
more expensive.
Yeah, double the price. So we were talking off camera.
Yep. When
you started in the industry, you had 2 kids.
Yes.
And when was this?
2010.
2010. So, wow, 13 years.
Yeah. So we had 2 kids that were at that time 1 and 2. Our kids are 20 months apart, so they're one calendar year apart, so they're pretty close.
Yeah. Even
though they're almost 2 years apart. So yeah, they were super young. It was kind of a scramble to, make sure you're there for the kids and getting them to bed and stuff, working at night. So it was a lot. And with, the context on that, we were talking about people that started a real estate business without kids. Mm-hmm. It's such a different world to have that much additional amount of time. And now we have 3 boys, same as you.
Lovely. Yes. Look at that. I know the pain behind your eyes.
All 3 very different kids. We have a little gap there, but
the
third one is just the weapon, straight up the weapon.
Yeah.
That's what we refer to as TW.
That's funny, because our third is like, he's the same. We call him the Mafia.
Okay.
Because he'll look at you like with an eye, and when he does that, something's coming.
Yes.
Book, a toy car, a golf club.
How old is he?
He's 2.
Oh, yeah, so he's super young.
So we have a 7, a 3, and a 2, but the 3 and the 2 are 12 months exactly apart.
Like 12, on the same birthday?
No, they've by 4 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, May 24th or May 28th.
So you're deep in the weeds and deep in diapers.
Yeah, our 3-year-old now is in pull-ups, and he's only pull-ups at night, so he's doing very well.
Yeah.
And now the little boy, he's like taking his diaper off, and he was using the potty yesterday. But then he also climbed up under the kitchen table and peed all over the kitchen table. So, yeah. And so I'm working from home because I was everybody on my team was sick. So we just said, okay, let's all just work from home and we'll do Google Meets.
Yeah.
So I'm on the Google Meets and I'm like, listening to, our director of ops give her opening remarks. And then she's asking me to unmute myself. And as soon as I did, it was like, and then Gabe's like, no, stop being on the table. But so anyways, so I know what it's like. But the reason why I'm interested in our conversation today is because you have a similar philosophy to how you run your business as I do. You take it a few steps further.
Yep.
So, I was hoping that you'd be able to share with us. So when you said, basically, when somebody asks you, what do you do? You're not saying, oh, I'm a realtor. You say, I run a real estate business.
Yes.
And what does that mean? Why are you saying it like that?
So I did that from the very start when it was just me, before I even had an assistant.
Right.
I always said, I have a real estate business. I just feel like people are put off by meeting a realtor. I agree. Feel like, it's going to be salesy. You're going to be all up in their grill. They already know another realtor. They feel nervous now. Suddenly they're at a dinner party with you or whatever. So I just said, I run a real estate business. Yeah. And from the get-go, I wanted to run a real estate business. I just felt like the individual agent was dead. Mm-hmm. In my region, people weren't even doing video in 2010. There wasn't any video happening. Lots of BlackBerry photos and people cheaping out, as our industry does sometimes. Yeah. So I always wanted to create a business. I never really had a clear vision of what that was, but I knew I needed to scale it out in some way. So to run a business, to have integrity. So I come from a teaching background. My master's is in special education. I was a grade 3 teacher. And I taught overseas. So you have all these families that are expats and they love the teachers. They respect them so much. They do so much for them. Yeah. They're so appreciated. Then I came here, and realtors don't always get treated with the amazing amount of respect and integrity. So I'm like, I need to build something that I can be proud of. So when I'm charging commission to someone, they are happy to pay it.
Yes.
They're feeling I'm going to get them that much more money for their house. They're going to feel like the whole process was concierge. They're going to feel like we call in our office, we call the real estate hug. Mm-hmm. Everyone needs to feel they're your only client. They're getting the real estate hug. Yeah. And then I was forced to begin to create a business once I wasn't able to give everyone a real estate hug. Just too much. There's too many listings, too many buyers, too much stuff. So how do you scale that out when people want you, right? People want, I want to work with Keleher. He's great. Mm-hmm. So I had to create an environment where the people that I brought on to work with me were already great agents, were in the same mindset as me, where it's not about chasing commissions. And that's where I created that transformational versus transactional real estate.
Right.
Lots of real estate is transactional, and people feel that. Buyers feel that it's just about you making a buck on them, and sellers as well, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to sit down at a table and be proud. Like, look at all that I'm going to do for you. Look at what you're going to get. And I just slowly built it out and started adding things as I went to create a real estate business.
Do you think for a company like yours to truly be transformational versus transactional, that you as the CEO, operator, team lead have to take yourself away from the sales?
I don't think you have to, and you don't have to be entirely taken away. And I think I've had so many of these conversations with people in the industry. I think it's all what you want to do and what your time is best spent. So one of the things that really was a catalyst for me growing, and I'm going to get off topic here and there. You'll see my mind go and you'll come back. But I took a business coaching program. I did a real estate coaching program and send some flyers, send a calendar, do a newsletter. And I've done presentations in the past on you can't same yourself to different. Everyone in this industry wants to do what Andrew Perry's doing because he's successful. Right. But they want to be different and be separated. So I joined Strategic Coach. Dan Sullivan is the creator. It's out of Toronto, Chicago, London, LA. And the thing that really caught me, and I live by this mantra, is Frank Sinatra does not move pianos.
Yes.
He doesn't usher people in. He doesn't sell tickets. He's not standing outside. He has one job. And they have a thing, which is, what is your unique ability? What are you really good at? So that's where your best talent should be. That's where you should be focusing your energy on. Mm-hmm. So I immediately made 3 lists, love, tolerate, hate. Anything I hate doing, I just immediately hired someone. And for me, I knew I didn't have to pay someone $40,000 a year to, remember when you could pay someone $40,000 a year? And that was
yeah.
I didn't have to pay the whole $40,000 at once.
Right.
And I committed to only like 15 hours a week. So I'm like, it's only costing me this. I've wasted more like a night at the pub.
Yes.
For what 15 hours a week at $20 an hour is. So I'm like, I'm just going to see how this goes. And then more and more, I needed this assistant more. So you're more delegating. All the hate stuff's gone. The tolerate stuff, you start delegating off. Mm-hmm. Then you're doing what you love. I love networking with people. I love taking people out to lunch, meeting new people in the community, meeting with my community partners and different businesses in town. And, I feel like at the core, I'm a connector. I love connecting people. Yes. Something grows out of it, right?
Yes.
So then I can go do that. And then business comes organically. If you're out there chasing business all the time, I find it personally harder. Whereas other people, they love door knocking. They love the thrill of the offer. They love that late night email and that 11 o'clock phone call. Yeah. It wasn't what I was loving, especially doing it more and more and more, right? So I was like, how do I scale this out where the clients that I love are going to be working with someone on my team? They're not going to feel like, oh, but where's Chris? We want him. Because we're delivering the Keleher experience.
Yeah.
You're feeling that nurturing. You're feeling educated. You're feeling appreciated. You feel that real estate hug. You don't feel like someone's chasing the commission. So you feel comfortable, confident you're building a relationship. So if we can all do that, the more and more I wasn't meeting the buyers, I'd get texts, like, especially my buddies joking around, like, thanks for sending Leanne. She's amazing. We don't need to talk anymore. Right? Because they're getting the real estate experience they want.
Yep.
It doesn't have to come from me, especially if we create on the team. This is who we are.
Yes.
This is the vibe. We're not there. No one can ever feel like they're a commodity to you. It's got to be the long game. We're not, money's a byproduct of hard work. That was a huge thing to have at the onset of things, is that if you just do the work, the money's going to come. Don't focus on, I showed this many houses, this is how much my time's worth, this, and that.
I agree. So the reason why I smirked a little bit is because our VP of Sales, Crystal, she's taking a lot of my sellers now, almost all of them.
Okay.
And so basically what happens is, now in my 7 years, I've already started to do second, third, and fourth transactions with my clients from year 1, year 2.
Yeah.
And I get those same messages. Hey, thanks. We really love Crystal. We don't need you anymore. Yeah. She's the best. We rather talk to her anyways.
Yeah.
So it's kind of almost like an inside joke with us now.
It's a tongue-in-cheek that they're teasing you, but they're pleased with the person you've sent.
Of course. Absolutely. And it even gets to a point where they're reaching out to her now as opposed to just going through me.
Yeah.
Which is great because after it all, that's where we as leaders want the business to go. I knew after year 3 that I wanted my cell phone off every piece of marketing. Yeah. I still get phone calls. I don't know how the hell it happens.
Yeah.
Because our business line is on everything.
Yeah.
But it's just those late nights, that's not for me. 6 p.m. comes, 7 p.m. comes, and my phone rings. It's like, what's happening? Why is this happening? And it's something that we've started to now do a very good job at, where I don't have to worry about anything of that as a business owner.
Yeah,
I'm not the gatekeeper anymore past 5 o'clock. Office shuts down at 4 o'clock. Do we still have services for our clients 24/7? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's not Frank Sinatra is calling bookies and trying to book himself his own gigs, right?
So it kind of evolves from that, and as long as the client experience is there, they're not fussed that you're not there personally, and that's where, I have to get that sort of paradigm out of their mind and get that shift of perspective on the industry, is that the individual agent I do feel is dead. I feel like it's impossible to offer the service, especially on a listing side, offer the services you need. Even on the buyer side, you probably have it here in the escarpment and stuff, like all these conservation authorities and the things you need to know about floodplains and waterways and stuff, right? So as we go through this, we want to be able to offer that service, and I would say things like, the owner of McDonald's is not making you a hamburger. Yeah. The owner of Starbucks is not making you coffee. But you've created systems where everything is taken care of you, even better than I could do myself.
Right.
right? So when everyone needs to be able to be interchangeable on our team so that no one feels like I'd like to get that person that's way better.
Yeah.
But that is, a paradigm in this industry that I need to work with that person is because there's a lot of teams out there, as you know, Dave and his dog, Joe and his wife, Stephanie, and they're a team. And they're just two individual agents running around or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so you're not getting anything more, or you have a team leader and a whole bunch of people that are just dying to get a lead given to them.
Correct.
And they offer a totally different experience, a totally different feel.
Yeah.
So some people will say, I'm not just going to get passed off, am I? But the reality is this whole team is going to take you through this listing process.
Right.
You're going to meet the stager, our photographer, we have full-time in-house stager. You're going to maybe hear from people in marketing. You might see them show up and do a reel. You're going to hear from client care, and you're going to hear from myself and another agent. There's always two agents on every listing.
Yep.
So that someone can always be there for the showing. We're a vacation hometown.
Yes.
But also, every other agent on the team can be put in that position and offer the same service, the same comfort, the same feel. Like, there's a type of person that I want on my team. I think I can teach anyone to sell.
Yes.
I can teach anyone the ins and outs of real estate, but you need that specific type of person that's going to make your clients feel comfortable in their hands. And that was a big thing for me to get that shift off. You need the business owner to be there.
Right.
And it's just such a rarity. Right. And when I think about, I used to use this restaurant analogy, which is if you walked into a restaurant and the chef was also the bartender, was also the busboy, was also greeting you, you'd be like, I don't think he's good at any of those jobs.
I don't want whatever he's cooking.
Yeah. Right. So, everyone goes in their role, what they're best at in the business to create the best real estate experience for every person that comes through our system.
And how are you presenting all of this to your sellers? So, for example, is this something that's a part of your listing presentation, like in way of a checklist, or is this something that once you have the paperwork signed, you send like an onboarding? How are these team members getting introduced?
To be honest, one of the things that I do worst in my business is systemizing things and repeating things.
That's not true.
Right? It's kind of, scrambling here and there. We have basic systems we use, but I could have a more refined system and a better listing presentation where I do outline everything as it should go. But I'm much less formal. I'm there to build a relationship.
Right.
I'm trying to connect with them. I know the basics of what I want to sell to them in terms of what sets me apart, what makes me the number one selling agent in my region. So I want them I want to build that relationship and not be so formal. Here's my PowerPoint presentation, zip.
Okay.
But during the presentation, I let them know exactly what I'm telling you. Here's how the process works. You're going to hear from all these people on the team. When I leave here, you're going to get an email. That's where our communication is going to happen. It's going to involve everybody on the team that you need to be in touch with to process the paperwork, to transfer information on lawyers or information on the data entry sheet, to line up things for the photography, for the staging, for all these meetings. So they get out of the gate that this is a team, like from the get-go. Yeah. I say this is not, and I will refer to other teams, because there's teams that's Dave and his dog, but there's also, and they used to be with Royal LePage, there's the Ferris team. Yeah. Wait for it, brokerage.
Right.
He's called his brokerage the Ferris Team Brokerage. Mm-hmm. So people think they're working with a team.
Yeah.
So they'll interview both of us, and I'll be at the interview for the listing. Mark Ferris won't be there because he runs a huge brokerage with many offices.
That's right.
But I don't think the general public knows that that's how it works. So it's really explaining the industry to them and showing the differences, because someone came to me and they're like, well, Mark Ferris has a way bigger marketing budget than you do.
Yeah.
For his team. And I said, well, that's for his brokerage. And if you want to talk about marketing budgets, Royal LePage Canada is the biggest real estate company across here, 20,000 plus agents across the whole nation. Under Royal LePage is Royal LePage RCR, which is the brokerage I have, which have 17 offices.
Yep.
And a huge marketing budget. Inside that, you're getting the experience with the Keleher team that is like working with a boutique brokerage that has a marketing budget that is spent on you.
Right.
A brokerage has a marketing budget spent on the brokerage, not on each client individually. Right. So it's also explaining that to explain to people, well, you're not interviewing two teams. You're interviewing a brokerage and a team. If you want to talk about my brokerage, here's RCR, here's the details, here's the 17 offices.
Right.
But people don't generally know that. So I do a lot of explaining the industry in that meeting.
Yep.
And letting them know, like, you should feel pumped that it's not me. If you see me pushing a sign into your lawn, you've not hired the right person.
Yeah.
right? You need to hire someone that has an incredible team, a big marketing budget, just from my perspective on the industry.
Yes.
I feel like providing the services that need to be given in this tech-driven world and marketing world is too much for one person. Like, can you run a Facebook ad?
Physically, no.
I was running them. Click. Audience click. And I was reaching 30,000 people per post.
Yeah.
And then I hired someone, and they're like, immediately I was reaching under 10,000. And I was like, what have you done? And they're like, well, I'm just reaching the right people.
Yes.
Because these 16-year-old girls that are looking at your post, doesn't matter. So I was showing exciting stats that didn't really mean anything to the results of the advertising. I agree. That's super important.
Well, because that's the thing about once you get to a certain level in your real estate business where you know that you have some of the best services out there.
Yep.
The conviction in these meetings are so strong that even if they're not ready to sell, I literally walked away from something 2 weeks ago. She's like, Andrew, you're not giving us the price we want, and that's okay. And if we need to wait a year, that's fine. I want you to know that you're our agent. I'm like, whoa, well, I could change in 12 months. Let's try to make this a little more formal. No, I'm joking. But I did offer, hey, why don't we take some marketing of the outside?
Yep.
And we'll, just in case you change your mind in midwinter.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's sidetracked. But in order to offer these types of services, you have to have people in place. So something that you mentioned off camera, you have 6 admins. Is that correct? 6 admins and how many agents?
6.
So that's wild.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me why it's not so freaking crazy, I hope, because we have 2 for 8 right now.
Okay.
And then we have 2 satellite agents. But so what I'm finding is that we have this well-oiled machine. But what I'm finding is when I see something, because we're similar, right?
Yeah.
We are attracted to new things. We want to implement new things. We see things that we're like, oh shit, let's try that.
Yeah.
And what I find is that we need almost that third person to be able to handle the workload so that our core group can implement these new things or research. What type of roles are you assigning these 6 admin staff or salaried employees?
First off is like operations, payroll, running all that stuff, like controller type thing. Next is the full-time stager. So she is either run off her feet, and sometimes we have a backup person to help her.
Yep.
And staging, unstaging when you're pounding out listings, and then there's times like November where you're not pounding out listings, and there's more time. So then she has some other things that she does, whether it's working on Follow Up Boss or web forms, DocuSign, like setting up some tech. Like there's other things, events. So she does events as well. We do a big movie morning and fall festival, which we can circle back to in terms of how I use events. But so there's the controller, there's marketing, and then I have 2 trade secretaries. They're managing the listings. They're managing the trades. They're firing documents off. So when you say you only have 2 and you have all your agents, a lot of agents do a lot more paperwork than what mine would.
Right. Okay.
Right? So
I'd imagine.
And everything's taken care of. The signs put up. They're ordered, they're taken down, the sign writer is exclusive, goes to for sale, all this stuff happens through the admin.
Yeah.
And then now, just recently, I've only had this for a year. I have 2 full-time, they gave themselves some clever names. They're marketing technologists.
Wow.
So I can't remember what they call themselves. They said, it's okay if we use this. I'm like, I don't care what you call yourself. The results are what matters.
Exactly.
Right? So that's what I've always really wanted, is to make sure that the agents on the team have this client care concierge for them.
Yes.
They also have the marketing concierge for them. There's nothing better as a realtor. You have a new listing. They stand here, say this. If you're just someone that rolls up and puts the iPhone on or your camera or whatever and says, stand here, say this, do your intro to your thing. We're going to do a reel. I want this. Get on the paddleboard, get in the water. It's great to do that. So I've wanted this full-time marketing to really leverage all the speaking engagements I do, podcasts, to leverage all my events, to leverage my community partners, and really create more content around the community.
Right.
Really around what a great community we have, and how all of these businesses, even if they're in the same business, they're like breweries are collaborating. It's not versus each other. Restaurants are collaborating. So we have a great business environment. So I just know that I can't have the mind space for arranging all that. As you said, I'm the idea guy.
I agree.
The idea guy, to the point where they're like, whoa, with the ideas. Like, just do I have like an idea dump place that I can put things? where they can address it when they come. Otherwise, they feel overwhelmed, and they're like, but you want to work on this, and you're doing this, so we're doing a micro event and a macro event. We're doing a grand open, and this is going to happen over here. And, okay, so we're doing these community partners, and this reel's going out, and we're chopping up this. And they're like, oh, my gosh, so much. Because during that time, they're doing regular listing marketing.
Right.
They still have to
do
do
the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
Because for one, so this is why I did this book, by the way,
yeah.
for your community partners. And we are a similar town. It's a tourist area. People come here. Yeah. A lot of people end up buying here because they came here. And so it's interesting that you listed those job duties, so to speak, because that's what we're I wouldn't say struggling with, because we're doing a fairly damn good job at it.
Yeah.
We did an event so amazing that at the time of the event, so many people showed up, we had to rent out the other ice.
Yeah.
We had a family dayscape. 500 people showed up. We needed to. This year we need way more hot dogs. But I do feel a little overwhelmed when I need somebody to take care of all of that. Yeah. So we're working on it. But I like your idea dump. So where do you put that? You just in an email?
Well, Lisa on my team, she has this email that I set up a little shorthand key for it.
Yep.
So Lisa creates all these back-end systems where this stuff gets entered into forms. Whether like when you have a new listing, you type it into this thing, maybe like click up or something like that. Type it all in, and then it creates a form for your listing. All the details, top 5 features. So when you have a new listing coming out, we get this paperwork signed, and then whoever's working with me on listing fills all this thing out, sends it to the marketing team.
Yeah.
The whole A team gets all this, so they all know there's stuff upcoming to do. Because it used to be scrambling agents.
Yeah.
Oh, we're listing this tomorrow. What? Hold on a second, I haven't heard anything about this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so the idea dump, and that's helpful for them because we can say, and at the beginning of 2020, we put together this great 4 quarters, each segment of the business, what's quarter 1, what's quarter 2, because there's so much there that you want to be able to say, this is a thought for later. I don't know, that's a quarter 3 marketing thing we're doing. We're going to do that right now.
Yeah.
So then they say, this is what I'm doing in quarter 1. And then something crazy happened in 2020. I can't remember what it was, but everything got scrambled. Everything got a little out of control there for a bit. And now we're kind of finding our footing again.
Yeah.
And we have far more people on the team. And, I just think scaling it out, say you're at 2 people. Another part of that love, tolerate, hate, and Frank Sinatra does not move pianos and stuff that I took from 4 years of strategic coaches really helped me run a business, not run a real estate business.
Of course.
Right?
Which I heavily agree with, by the way, with a business coach versus a real estate coach.
And we've done a number of things so first thing that I had to get my mind around, and this number is brilliant, and it was probably Matt Regan, I think, may have said this to me at one point, and that was when you're trying to hire someone, so figure out how many hours a week you work, and then how much money you make in a year, just what you're worth hourly.
Right.
Say 60 hours a week, you do your math. But then the key to that is that now up at one level, 8,765, 8,765. That's the number of hours in a year. So take the amount of money you make, divide it by the number of hours in a year. That's how much you're worth sleeping. So if you're worth, say, $50 an hour sleeping, why are you doing a $20 an hour job? And every time you have someone else do that job for you, you're probably a creative ideas guy. You might follow through further on ideas or have new things come up or get involved in different stuff if you weren't doing these things over here that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
So the scaling up, and it also becomes easy because, again, you don't have to pay them right away. You pay them 2 weeks at a time. And if it's not working out, it's not working out.
Yeah.
Right? So you're only committing to 2 weeks at a time for your pay period.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy how much you'll just delegate. Once you know how much you're worth an hour and how much you're worth sleeping, it's so much easier to be like, I'm hiring for that.
Right.
I'm not doing that anymore. Why would I do that? That's just not something I should be spending my time on, especially not like I'm too good for that.
Right, of course.
It's more so if I'm going to run this company and my team's going to count on me to drive leads and drive the network and build a community presence, I can't be doing these things. I won't have time to do the stuff that you guys all need for me to drive leads. So I have to create space for me to play piano, right? Not move pianos. I just have to create that space. But you can never, I think, it's probably not great in any business to be like, no, I don't do that sort of stuff.
Of course.
It's below me. Someone else on the team does it. Right. Everyone should be able to do everyone else's job, but I got to clear my time to do what I'm best at.
Right.
And continue to figure out what I am best at, what I love the most, what energizes me. Right? If you do most things that energize you, you're going to be 10xing everything you do if you're energized every day instead of, when you feel like there's bricks on your feet and you're kind of doing stuff that it takes you way longer to do something that you don't like than it does to do something you do like.
So, as somebody, what I'm gathering is that you're the type of leader that you could easily, because what I first thought about you, so this being honest here.
Okay.
I thought you were just, and I mean this completely respectfully.
You can't hurt my feelings. Go ahead.
That you're just a really good leader, good motivator, somebody that people could rely on. Yeah. But you delegated too much.
Okay.
That's what I thought. And now, after getting to know you a little bit better today, and what you said to me in the car is exactly what I do. I spend at least 80 to 90% of my time meeting new people, doing things like this, growing the business from a relationship standpoint, getting out into the community, even if it's, as simple as just attending community events or going and playing hockey with a group of locals, going to a real estate conference, looking for...
Getting on stage.
You're building the brand awareness in multiple markets because 90% of my business is agent-to-agent referrals.
Yeah.
Right? Like I sent a referral up to you. You guys did an amazing job, by the way. But so that's where I now see you in this light of leadership. And so I just thought that was very interesting because you're running the play as I would. The only difference is that I'm still selling. And
it's not that I don't sell. It's just that
I know
I could have a team member help me, and we can put this offer together way better than if
I agree. So so then maybe you and I are exactly the same.
Yeah, could be.
Exactly.
I think we're all trying to move out of it, and everything's shifting as we go through this sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I know that I'm best suited for being at the events, being at the community things, connecting people. Going to comedy shows, helping promote things. Like, so many people in my community would be like, hey, the Carnival North event is this weekend. Can you put it on your social media?
Yeah.
Can you pump it out there?
And so, but you feel that what you're doing is contributing to the growth of the team.
Yes. And it's just kind of like, it's not like I can quantify that. Because what I found early in my career was whenever you do something to drive business, like to purposely get clients or something like that, if there's no benevolent agenda behind it, that you're actually loving doing that. Yeah. Like, so I coached a soccer team and sponsored them. 0 referrals ever in the history of that.
Right.
I coached the hockey team before my kids were old enough to play hockey, and 0 referrals ever from that. So that was because I was doing that to get referrals. Mm-hmm. I sponsored the team. But then when I was having these, I did these dinners, we called it Let's Eat Collingwood, dining together in Southern Georgian Bay. We'd book out a restaurant. Yeah. We'd get 60 people, and they would just... all new people to town, some clients, some whatever, and people would just get to know each other because we have lots of people moving to the Collingwood area.
That's right.
So they want to meet new friends. So we'd have, they would charge us $50. It's a set menu. They don't know where they're sitting, who they're sitting with, or what they're eating that night. They're just coming. They're just getting on the list. It would always fill up. You get business from that because you're doing it because we loved it. Like, I never even talked about business.
Right.
Like a lot of people. A lot of people they were like, oh, it's Chris. It was Chris Keleher at Mac.com that no one even knew I was in real estate. But I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be authentic.
Of course.
Right? And then you go play hockey with your buddies and you enjoy it. And you don't talk about real estate in the dressing room. Like, no. Sometimes they want to, but I'm like, can we talk tomorrow morning? Give me a call tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But when you're doing the things that you love, when we're hosting these community events, when we're going to the community events, when we're sponsoring the Humane Society, when we're doing stuff, we're doing that because we love it. That is going to generally drive business. Right? Just being present in the community, being a part of the community, wanting to help improve the community, make connections to the community. Just so if I go out and do what I enjoy, that's where it's going to be the best impact on the community, right? Than sort of forcing my way in.
And I coach hockey, and I've done all that. Do it sponsoring. I'm even doing a bigger sponsorship this year for the entire Niagara on the Lake hockey. It's something that. You're absolutely right. Has anybody said, oh, thanks for sponsoring, here's my listing? Yeah. No. But to know that, here, let me just put it this way. Recently, and I'm going to say in the past 12 months, let's call it. Okay. My cell phone's been ringing more, as I told you, because it's weird that I don't even have my cell phone anywhere. The only thing I have it is like on my old business page on Google. So maybe that's where it's coming from now that I've said it out loud. But But
it's on the internet. So
yeah.
That's where they're finding it.
Right.
At the internet.
But we promote the Fine Estates team. Like, I don't promote Andrew Perry. That's why it's the Fine Estates team. It's not Andrew Perry. Yeah. So how people even get my name is probably just through brand awareness in the community now is where I'm going. So I've been getting more calls and, hi, Andrew, we're thinking about selling. Would love you to come and give your opinion of value, whatever. I'd say, okay, that's fantastic. How did you hear about me? Well, Andrew, I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Yes. I'm like, okay, so how'd you hear about me? We're locals. Okay, great, but how'd you hear about me? We live here, Andrew.
Yeah.
So I'm now becoming a community name.
Yep.
Which is a byproduct of all of this community involvement, everything that we're doing from a marketing standpoint, and the more signs in the ground, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's something that is very fulfilling, purposeful, and intentional, that you're actually helping drive the community and helping it move, through which once was a fairly high averaged age community.
Yep.
Is now a more younger and younger community where, sports programs were going down, child daycare was going down because nobody was using it. And now it's kind of exploded again. And to help be a part and facilitate these young kids, I mean, sports is huge for me.
Yeah.
Helping the young kids get back into sports is something that I'm very passionate about. And it's coming back in the form of business, I think, just because we're getting noticed in the paper. Like, do you guys have a paper? We have 3 papers.
We do have a paper, I believe, still. I haven't seen it in a long time. But, yeah, I think when you have that just sort of ubiquitous nature, there's signs on lawns, there's billboards, there's community events, like they see me involved in all the stuff. And if you're doing it for that fulfillment that you get, the reward of making a difference in the community, I mean, that's huge, right? So, and then when you do ask, how do you know? They're like, well, I see your signs everywhere. Like, I don't know. Everybody knows about you, don't they?
Yeah.
And then the community gives back. When you do all this stuff, when we did our fall festival this past year, we had like 750 people. I do it in my backyard, in the park behind my backyard. And, these community partners that we support all through the year, we're always sending new clients to go to the different breweries or restaurants or whatever. We're giving little gift cards and packages. Like, we're trying to promote the businesses that we love in the community. Yeah. And they give back, and, they donate everything to this, right? So Collingwood loves to drink in the afternoon, it seems, but like from 12 to 4, we're emptying like 7 kegs, and the Caesar bar was there as well. They were making amazing. Caesars. A local restaurant came with, they combined with spirits, a company called Heretic Spirits, and they made a fall festival cocktail. A cidery came, a spy cider, and all these people just come and bring the stuff to give for free for the community event. Wow. Because throughout the year, you're driving business to them. All year, if you give a keg, it's $150. It's not a huge donation, couple kegs. Yeah. But throughout the year, when they know we're driving business through that company, it feels so great to feel it all come back. And then people know sort of what my presence is. One kind of off topic in terms of your presence, but really kind of aligns with advertising and such, is that one of our greatest local magazines on the Bay has now started a channel. So Moses Neimer, you familiar with Moses Neimer? You might be too young. He did Speaker's Corner, City TV.
Oh, yeah.
So he bought a magazine in our area, and he's now created a TV channel called Baywatch. It's on Georgian Bay.
I love it.
It's a clever name, but it's tough to search for when you're looking to download the app.
Yeah.
Different things come up, and it looks like CP24 because Moses Neimer also made CP24, that television station. So I went to the grand opening, did all the stuff, and went on the radio, and because they have a classical radio station that's tied to it too, and went on the TV station. And then out of nowhere, I won $30,000 in advertising.
Oh, wow.
Right? And my team's like, you're so lucky. And I was like, they just picked me.
Yeah.
Because nothing sells advertising like advertisers.
Yes.
Like getting an anchor tenant in a strip mall. Oh, CIBC's here? they start filling up.
Of course.
So I've always felt that way in my region, that if Keleher is in the magazine, it's going to make other realtors get in that magazine, other companies get in that magazine.
I agree.
So, and that's because of that ubiquitous presence, and that people know that I'm there for the right reasons in the community. They know I'm not just there being salesy or something like that. Like, we really give back a ton through our events, and planning to bring back TEDx Collingwood next year, which was a great event.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
How were you involved?
Well, I started it with 3 other people in 2017. Went successful. Those 3 people at the end of that year, they decided, like, this is a lot. We don't want to do this anymore. We have other things in our life.
Yeah.
I was so driven by, like, meeting with all these speakers. We have like 80 applicants and trying to pick 12 people to be on stage and putting together this event. It was just so, I love putting on events. Like, I'm realizing that now.
Yeah.
It's a nonprofit. You can't make any money. But just seeing the speakers change from when they started with their idea to what it became, it can only be 5 to 17 minutes. Most people, like you and I, we can go on stage and talk for 60 minutes about some stuff. If you got to narrow down your point to 17 minutes, you got to be precise. But, those community events, we did that for first. Then second year, I ran it on my own with a partner that helps me with coach speakers. And the third year we did that. And then the fourth year was 2020. So we still haven't brought it back. It takes over a year to plan it.
I bet.
So I wasn't ready at the end of 2022 to commit to putting on this huge event in the fall of 2023. So I postponed it again. But all these things are just when I'm enjoying what I'm doing around the community, when I'm having fun, when I'm, like you mentioned 3 things like fulfillment, purpose, intent. Like, then you feel like you're doing the right thing and you're making a difference. Yes. Right? And that's what's most important, is making a difference, having an impact on the community. You probably get asked the same thing, like every day a charity comes to ask you for money, an event, a sponsorship, right? So I decided I want to partner with the Humane Society. I want to create awareness with them. I want to do like Facebook Lives, and we'll talk about how much does it cost to run this organization. It's all nonprofit.
Yeah.
You got to raise $1 million a year to run this. How many pets go through this? 1,500 a year. You're like, oh my gosh, 1,500 pets go through this in a year. So create awareness for it rather than just, I always joke with Sonia, who runs it, hilarious, because she came into my office and she opened up her little booklet with the one-eyed cat and the 3-legged dog. And I'm like, oh, this is how you're getting my money, is with this, sob story. You could show me any pets and I could be interested. They don't have to be, at a deficit. Yeah. So, but then I said, like, if I can be involved and we can do things together, then I want to be involved in this. Mm-hmm. Right.
I found, for me, I don't know, maybe it's just being a young father. For me, it seems like everything we've done is like children focused. Yeah. We did the Easter egg hunt. We did, so Niagara on the Lake actually put that on, but we rented a booth, which went to the daycare, and we did like a coloring contest. And then, we gave a big giveaway for the best drawing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we've done sports, and we did this, get your photo with Santa Claus. We've done the free skate, everything other than our annual client party, a client appreciation, or we switched it to community appreciation because we had a lot of clients not yet a client say, well, Andrew, I'm not your client. I'm like, I know. I'm going to invite you every year until you are. It's fine. Yeah. But no, we switched it to community appreciation. And that's our adult family alcohol fun.
Yeah. Kids are allowed there too, though, right?
Kids are allowed. Yeah. But all the rest of the events are all children's focused. I think that
it's very organic because it comes from who you are. Every day you're surrounded by kids peeing on your counter.
Exactly.
Right?
So having my kids be able to be a part of it, it's just like a no-brainer. I'm like, if we're going to go to these events all the time, might as well get into either sponsoring or organizing.
Yeah.
And we just feel like, I think you're right. Once you find something that just jives with your passions, it just makes it following through with those commitments a little bit more easy.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say community appreciation. We just call them community events and community partners. Like, I never want to say, will you sponsor my fall festival?
Yeah.
You're a community partner. We give back to you. We're partnering in this to offer this great experience for the community.
That's a good point.
And throughout the year. So I want it to be a partnership. So I created community partners instead of sponsors, because we really do have to be in a partnership here. But I always, my wife was like, you want to just invite the community? And like, we don't even know these people.
Yeah.
Because it is about creating more community, not just like, sorry, it's a closed event. These are my clients.
Yes, of course.
That means like some of my friends can't come because they haven't sold their house in 10 years. Like, you know, a lot of people in the community that just aren't selling their house until their kids are grown.
Right.
They're not a client.
They're not.
But they might refer you. They might love your business and your brand and stuff like that. So I wanted to open it up. And even though we do open it up publicly, if you will, like just come and register and come to the event. Anyone can really come to the event. It's very rare. And there's usually, you know, 1 or 2 people at the fall festival where they just come and get some food and sit in the corner and get some wine. And you're like, I don't think they know any of us. But normally people don't come to the event unless they know someone that knows someone, or, you know, we've done something together in the community or whatnot. Like, people don't just come randomly. They have to have some sort of connection.
I agree.
But it should be open to all. Like, we invite my entire neighborhood.
Of course.
I'm not saying, oh, you got to work with me. There's tons of realtors that work in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But come to the event. It should be open to friends and family and the community. And you are, in a way, prospecting.
100%.
Right. You're building relationships with the community. You're offering something great. And if it's just a client party, then it feels a little more closed and not giving the opportunity to those people who aren't clients yet. And the reality in our business is 99% of the time, we're not getting paid for what we do.
Yeah.
And then 1% we get paid very well. Yeah. A lot of time you're working for free. And the other side of that is 99% of someone's life, they don't need a realtor.
Absolutely.
Right? So we focus a lot on, I think I sent you one of my guides, and we called it
Beautiful.
Beyond the Transaction. That's what I want people to like. I want to send regular emails out to my clients. Say, if you just want me to tell you how much your house is worth, maybe you want to build a pool.
Yep.
And you're like, I didn't know I have $300,000 equity in here. I'm gonna do a line of credit and I'm gonna put in a pool.
Yep.
Whatever it is, right? So people should know they can get home valuations. They can ask what their neighbors sold for. They can, you know, get connected with contractors, lenders, whatever they need. They should know that we are available between the transaction.
Yeah.
You don't just, you know, I don't want to waste your time. People say, oh, I don't want to waste your time. Like, you're never wasting my time. Like, this business is about spending time when you're not making money. And if you're not ready to do that, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna be frustrated with real estate all the time. Yeah. Because there's tons of times maybe a listing doesn't sell. They just don't get the price they want. The market's slow, whatever. Yeah. Maybe the buyers during the process. I mean, it happens right now. They're right in the middle of your buyer process. Interest rates go up, and they're like, we no longer qualify for what we want to get. Yeah. And they're out. Yeah. That's not a waste of time. You gave them the great experience. If you're like all disgruntled about that, what does that say about you as a person in this industry? You want it to be they're like telling their friends, you know, Keleher or Leanne or Marcia from the Keleher team, they were so great. We spent 3 months with them. We saw 40 homes. We didn't buy anything. They're not even mad. They still talk to me all the time.
That's what I've noticed. You know, when we, you know, do one-on-ones with our team, the discouragement and be like, oh, now they only qualify for 500. Okay, well, what is the problem with that? Yeah. Well, they never really thought about it. They're like, well, the deals are so few and far between. I'm like, no. You have an opportunity right now to educate these people, to be their advisor. Yes. Throughout this process. Nothing you want is in your price range. This is how we're going to help you provide educational advice on how to bring your credit up, how to do this, how to do that, how to save more, how to, find better deals in the locations that are more favorable, that by the time the rates drop, this is going to be a no-brainer appreciation of your equity for you. And it's just, to me, I don't see a deal that died. I never see a bad market. I never see a good market. I see an opportunity. And that what I like about what I'm trying to say is that those moments are exactly what you said. Those moments are what separates a good realtor and a bad realtor. Yeah. And it's what separates a good relationship and a bad relationship, and why you can prove yourself as that advisor so that people will come to you in 12 months, in 24 months, in 5 years. Because I don't know about you, but I didn't get into this business to stay in it for the next 30 days to 90 days. Yeah. I got in this business to stay in it for 5, 10, 20 years.
It's a long game, right? And you got to play that. And they have to feel that because then you've disarmed them, their guards down. They feel comfortable just reaching out to you anytime as an advisor. And I've always built this. My undergrad is in marketing, and then my master's is education. And I marry those two things together because marketing is super important in this business, especially on the listing side. Yeah. But also education. Like, a lot of people don't even know the basics of how the paperwork works, or am I going to lose my deposit? What's happening? Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much I get that.
Right? And how quickly can you lose it? And what happens if I don't like it after the inspection, this and that? So there's little things like that, but there's education about the the community developments that are happening, conservation authorities, whatever they are. There's so much education you can give. And if you're there to educate first, and it's like a knowledge delivery, then people are gaining something from you in exchange for you making money from them, right? They're getting something more than just like feeling like they were a pawn in your chase for commissions.
Right.
So, and those are long game things. Those are long-term relationships. And like you said, if you're in it for the long game, you never worry about when the transaction is coming. They just come. Right, imagine a dentist was going into work and like, well, that's one tooth, $400, writing that down. How much each tooth is worth that I cleaned today or whatever, how many cavities I gave. They just go to work and they make money. And that's what we should do. Go to work. Money's a byproduct of hard work. You're going to get to the finish line if you have the right agenda, if you have the right values and desires for what you want to achieve. Then you stop worrying about the commissions. They just come. They happen like any paycheck would happen, right?
I agree. Now, shifting gears a little bit, how does somebody like you, your company, your team, in the position that you currently are in, how do you grow? What is in your mind now for growth as somebody who has an extremely top-ranking team?
Yep.
What does growth look like to somebody in your position?
Right now, to be honest, the most important growth thing for me is the systems. If I can refine the systems that are running the machine, everything becomes easier for everyone. If everything becomes easier with the deliverables on each of my events, like we do the movie morning and fall festival, so we do 2 a year. So basically you finish the movie morning, you start playing the fall festival. There's a big events for hundreds of people, between 500, 700 people. So I would love to be in a position like we talked about in the car, like getting Follow-Up Boss running as the CRM we're going to use. How do we create ongoing deliverables that have value to our past clients through that into our community? How do we use that? So what can I have on a press button system that's going to help deliver what we can to the community, make what we do in the community better, deliver information about real estate to the community, educate people? How can we make this happen a lot easier without these little hiccups? Because like I said, systems are the worst thing that I do. I'm always moving too fast. I'm onto the new thing, a new idea. I got this. So before I tidy up this one. So there's a lot of things that are incomplete. There's, what's that Gary Keller book? Real Estate Millionaire? Is it the red one?
A Millionaire Real Estate Playbook?
Millionaire Real Estate Agent? It's Gary Keller. Right in there's a photograph that really rings true to me. I have a photocopy of it on my wall. It's a hobo shack, and then it's a perfectly built house. The hobo shack has a roof, it has walls, there's kind of a window, and the door's crooked, and there's all these boards nailed onto it. And then there's this perfect brick house that's everything's laid perfectly. That's kind of where I am now. Let's strip this business back. And then let's move it forward to be even better at what we do because our systems are better. And everything, when you think about when you're staging and unstaging, what's the easiest way to get the staging done, to get the unstaging done, to get things in the storage locker, the movement of things from house to house. Like every part of our business, processing paperwork, moving checks, paying things out. You were talking today about how you can type in your GCI and how much money the business is making, in and out, how money flow. All this stuff can be done better. I would love to have these brilliant spreadsheets. Like you talked about Microsoft Word being gross, or Excel being gross. You joked about that in the car. Absolutely, I hate it. I hate using that. But I have friends in the industry that love Excel, and their businesses run so fucking brilliantly. Because it says January, here's how much we should spend on salaries, on marketing, on listing, this. Here's the projected, here's the actual. Oh, look, we spent more than we thought. Where did we spend more? What were the results that we got? Right. They can analyze these things all the time by setting it up in that way. But you have to have that mind, the person with the right mindset, the right type of brain that can sit in front of a spreadsheet for a couple hours and go through all those details, all those codes or whatever you put in the cells that make it, calculate things. And that's just stuff that mind-numbing for me.
It's a different breed of person.
But they're a huge asset to every business.
I agree.
So that's what I'd like to have. Right now, my wife is our controller.
Yeah.
Not amazing at the controlling thing. She'll tell you that as well. That's not her greatest asset or skill set she has. So to have someone that is in a controller position that can really run those systems of the numbers. When a business knows their numbers to the penny, that's when you become super successful.
So, to me, it sounds like growth in what it looks like to you is just making your machine a little bit more well-oiled. Yes. Where to me, if somebody had asked me that question, I'd say it's one new location by the end of next year, 10 more agents, et cetera, for example.
Which I think I would have done with GCI at some point. I would like to get this, and this, but you're always running percentages. Where do you want the net to be and that sort of stuff. But really, I know that if I can create these systems, there's going to be growth in more listings. There's going to be growth in better market. There's going to be growth in referrals. There's going to be growth in more sales. It's going to happen organically if we just create a better engine to offer better service to everybody.
I love that. So just to wrap things up.
Okay.
If a team leader is looking at growing his business or her business and they seem to be a little stuck right now, and, where do you feel that maybe they should first start taking a look at?
I did a great presentation on this, maybe 2019 or so, and that really is to be honest with yourself. So that's a big deal because there are going to be team leaders that love doing the deal.
Yeah.
There's going to be team leaders that love being on camera and being in the listing videos and being there. There's going to be team leaders that, love the spreadsheets and the numbers, and they drive things like that. There's going to be team leaders that love cold calling. Like if you talk to Simeon, he's going to tell you his agents have to make this many calls a day, this many calls a week, because if you make this many calls, the results are like, that's just not the way that I do it.
Yeah.
But if you're, and that might even be the way that some people that are doing it should be doing it.
Right.
That's not your style. So really, truly figure out what you want, because like I said earlier, you can't same yourself to different. We are all very different. So I think first be honest with yourself. What do I want to do? So how many hours a week do I want to work? How much vacation do I want? What do I want my life to look like day to day? And then figure out, okay, am I going to be selling? Am I showing buyers? Am I focusing on listings? Am I doing events or being in the community? So figure out what you want to do and then build a team around that. I think the problem is people want to have a team like that guy has. Oh, I want to make the money they have. I want to do the thing. But they don't know the path there. So that's why they don't know what to do next.
Right.
Because they don't even know what they want. And you really have to be honest with yourself, because some people want to say, oh, I don't sell anymore. I'm a team leader and I don't sell. But maybe you should be selling. Maybe that's what you love. Maybe that's what energizes you.
Yeah.
That's what fills your bucket every day. And you don't have to be like that other guy that doesn't sell or only does this or only does that. I think if you're honest with yourself about what you really want to do on a day-to-day basis, I love showing homes. I'm going to be a team leader, but I just love showing homes. It's fucking exciting for me. I get to see all these cool new places or old places or homes that you sold before, and you're seeing it again. You see the changes that happen. You go back in the same home 7 years later. So what is going to energize you about the business, and then build your business around that? Mine luckily happened organically enough that I just kept moving myself into the place I wanted to be as things grew. So I ended up where I think I want to be. But when I started this, I didn't have a plan. It was just, run scared and right. But enjoy the process. I have all these things I put on my wall. Like I just put words that mean something, because I feel like if you don't say certain things, it sounds maybe, a little whimsical.
Like affirmations.
But not even a full affirmation. Focus, hustle, grit. I have 3 words.
Yeah.
It says, enjoy the process. Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah.
I tell myself all the time, you asked for this. So when I'm overwhelmed with a bunch of stuff, how much worse would I feel if I was like,
we got nothing to do.
Wow. Oh, is my phone even on? There's no.
The stress means you care.
Yeah. Because you'll see, like,
something's happening.
We'll do a meeting like this. I'll go outside. It'll be filled with red dots.
Yeah.
There's some anxiety with those red dots.
Yes.
Because you're like, man, I got a lot of people to communicate with.
Yeah.
But even worse, you open your phone after being off and there's no red dots.
Yeah. What the hell?
Then, you can panic. So I think, that was kind of a long-winded answer, but I think be honest with yourself, figure out who you are, what you want to do, and then what that business could look like, and don't be afraid to hire.
Yes.
Right?
I like that. Don't be afraid to hire.
Do not be afraid to hire. Do that math. 8,765 hours in a year. Figure out how much money you made, and go from there. Like, let's just do, if you have an agent, like a top selling agent, what do you say they're making? 300 grand.
Yeah.
So you make 300 grand gross. We have to do it on gross, I think. Divided by 8,765. So that's $34 an hour sleeping. That's how much you're worth sleeping. You make 300 grand a year, you're worth $34 an hour sleeping. So any job that you could have someone do for $15 an hour, buy yourself another hour. Didn't you send me a book that's like buy back your time? Buy back your time.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're buying yourself another hour.
I agree.
Especially if the work that they do an hour takes you 3 hours to do. Right.
Somebody who specializes in something.
They're so good. They can whip up the trade record, pop, put it into Lone Wolf. It's happening so fast. They're barely thinking about it. They're multitasking.
Yeah.
You open Lone Wolf and you're like, oh, geez. Oh, my gosh.
Dude, well, as soon as agent locator, Lone Wolf, broker Bay, it pops up and it says login information. I'm like, what? Yeah. There's a login for this.
Shouldn't it just remember and stick it in there? Yeah, where the password.
Because I've never logged into it on my computer.
Yeah.
I had Jazz Takar on here, a couple of Simeon's partner.
Yeah.
He doesn't even own a computer. He hasn't had one for, I think, 3 or 5 years. But anyways, so I appreciate all that information.
I appreciate you having me
Lots of tidbits. There's things that I've even, made mental notes in my brain to start talking to my team about. So last, plug yourself. Where can people find you?
Chris Keleher. My company's Keleher Co. up in Collingwood, Blue Mountains, Southern Georgian Bay, we call it. You can find us, Keleher Co. Real Estate on Instagram, Facebook. And if you just Google Keleher Collingwood, then you'll see it. You'll find us. We're pretty easy. I made myself pretty easy to find online. So if you really want to find me, I'll be there.
Good. Okay, buddy. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. And, okay, this is for you, but I'm going to point it to the camera for now.
Okay.
So, book just came out, Niagara, Wine Lover's Guide. You can get it on Amazon. We're currently ranked #1 in our category. It's a bestseller. People really love wine, I guess. So you can get that at Amazon.com or .ca. Don't forget to share this podcast. Leave us a review, because once you leave us a review on Spotify, the algorithm kicks in. People like yourselves will be who would be interested in the show. It will pop up on their, interests list, etc. So share, subscribe, all that crap. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.